Oh no, Lexi, what the hell have you done, Lexi? She crouched in front of me, and I wanted to tell her not to, because she was going to ruin her lovely yellow skirt by kneeling in my blood. Also, there was glass on the floor from the mirror I'd smashed, and I'd feel awful if she cut herself. She grabbed some towels, wrapped them around my arms, and started to cry when she couldn't tie them tight enough. Have you ever tried to tie a knot in a towel? Really difficult, it turns out. Meg dialed 999 on her phone. By this stage, I was swooping in and out of consciousness. I'd taken a fistful of paracetamol, just in case, and I could no longer decipher between reality and hallucination, which is always fine by me, as long as neither is threatening. They must have hiked me down the stairs and into the ambulance, but I don't remember any of this. I woke up in the hospital a few hours later, puking my guts up. I've no idea what they gave me, but it was efficient in wringing me out. They stitched me up, masked the cuts with padded dressings. Meg came back the next day and brought me lunch in a brown paper bag, and looked tearful when I said I couldn't touch it. David came, and I immediately felt guilty again for being a burden on him. He said, "I had to use annual leave to come and see you." "What happened? Why are you here, Lex?" I had no answer. I wondered if he'd had to clean up the blood. David was always squeamish. A doctor came along, stood beside my bed with his hands in his pockets. "Lexi, before we send you home, we need to be sure you won't do this again. We need you to sign a form saying that you have no more plans to harm yourself." He produced a form. I signed it. I took the bus home. On the phone, my mother said that I was always an attention seeker. I read somewhere that those who get under our skin are our best teachers. And while it sticks in me to call my mother a teacher of any kind, I'll say that her comment inadvertently sparked an epiphany. Because even as she moved on to give me a blow-by-blow account of that morning's Jeremy Kyle, I realised that she was part of the reason I tried to top myself. And secondly, I realised that if I was to stay alive, I should probably stop speaking to her altogether. I lost my job. I was working as an administrator at a care home and took a month off to recover. I didn't get a sick note, so they sacked me. It was probably illegal, but the thing with illness, mental or otherwise, is that it tends to annihilate your capacity for argument. At the time, I was spending 23 hours a day in bed. For the first few weeks, I mostly slept, though I had such psychedelic nightmares that it wasn't exactly restful. Dreams about my childhood, about my mother telling me she wished I'd never been born. Dreams of being shipped out to strangers while she sorted herself out. David didn't say much to me during this time. He went out to work every morning, sent me a text at lunchtime, and then came home at dinner time with a ready meal or takeout. I didn't eat much. He'd sit in bed beside me marking homework assignments while I tried to follow Game of Thrones. When the cuts healed, I started sleeping less, and the fear set in again. I asked David if I could go to work with him, and he looked at me like I'd suggested he get a full body wax. "Come to work with me? What for?" I didn't want to say I was lonely at home. "Because I'm lonely at home? Go back to work then? They sacked me, remember? Can't you just look for a new job?" "I could sit in the staff room and read." "You can't do that." "Why not?" "It would be weird, Lexi. You know it would." "Maybe the caretaker's cupboard?" "The what?" "Don't schools still have those? Mine did." "Look, I'll FaceTime you." He didn't FaceTime me. I went to the public library, but it was too loud. People were staring and it felt like being branded with hot irons. The books were full of stories that shouted at me, and I worried they might fly off the shelves and hit me. Difficult to explain these kinds of things when a librarian is leaning over you, asking why you